Hey, dear beloved. Sorry, I'm just having some slight tech issues. So we're on my phone now, which was not what I was planning, but I'm here. Sorry, I bumped the table as well. So I've been meaning to come in and share with you for a couple of days now, and I've just got some time now. So I'm going to give you an update on where I'm at in terms of something that I shared a month ago, or just around a month ago. So I am, I don't normally pay too much heed to the full moon as an archetypal pattern. The movement of the moon is something we can really tap into, but we can have a full moon ceremony halfway through the month if we want to. It's no big deal, but I do remember that today is a full moon, and it was a full moon, last month's full moon, where I had this moment of kind of breakthrough, and it was all around the ending of my marriage, but so much kind of bigger than that. And as often the endings of relationships is this real opportunity to discover ourselves anew. And everything that happens in our life and everything that we create in our life is an opportunity for awakening consciousness. That is my jam. I'm here to awaken, right? So I got down and dirty with the breakthrough moment, and some of you may recall I had the privilege of getting to kind of take myself away from my family and my responsibilities for 2 days to kind of process. And I was like, okay, you got 2 days, you got to do this, and I worked my ass off, and I did it. But I want to give you an update on where I'm at now and what this last month has been, and some really lovely things that have transpired. It's been one of the most powerful months of my life, and it's like when you reflect back on what a year this week has been. Those memes that are going around at the moment as we're all sort of dealing with COVID and the start of the year with the bushfires. There was a lot of this idea of like time sort of irrelevant right now, and I'm feeling that very strongly. As I sit here, I'm in my new apartment, and that has been part of this huge change since this month ago. And interestingly, one of the things that I did in my time away to kind of process and integrate, aware that it was a full moon, I was like, okay, well, let's tap into this. And even though I know I could do this anytime, I'm going to tap into the collective power of this. And I wrote down some things that I wanted to be creating at this time. And one of them was a really beautiful place to live. As my ex-husband and I separate, we are birds nesting, and I'm going to share a little bit about that because a number of you have sort of shared your interest in what that is and how we're managing our separation. And I'm just sitting here with this absolute feeling of awesome gratitude for how much has happened since that time, and really the intentionality to kind of keep bringing the full weight of my consciousness to this change in status for my family and for myself and for my work. And so Julian and I made the decision to bird's nest in our first year of separation, which means that he and I will spend week on, week off in this apartment, which will be for us, and we will do the burden of the heavy lifting of coming and going, and our children will stay in the house, which is the bird's nest, and so they don't have to do any physical change, but he and I get this space that we need to begin the process of discovering what our lives are now like when we're no longer husband and wife. And our relationship now is very much like brother and sister, and we are truly holding one another through this process, and deeply connected in a way that we weren't for a long time in our marriage. And it's like we found each other anew. And I kind of joke that he's my brother now, and one day that won't sound weird, and have a kid with my brother, but we really have formed this new relationship and gone through the backdrop of isolation and homeschooling and all of the things that we're managing together with such grace, and I'm so grateful for that. But I've also been working my ass off energetically in making that happen, and part of that is coming into this space. So we now have this beautiful apartment. I'll just show you a little bit around. I don't know if you can see behind me, and the couch that I proudly shared with you all that I built with the new throws on it that I'm so excited about. It's a really sacred space, and it came into my life through an old friend, really kind of, divine intervention. Just finding this, on my list of things I wanted to call in was a beautiful apartment to live in to go through this bird's nesting phase. And within days of that last full moon, this place appeared in my Facebook feed, actually, and here I am now sitting here, fully furnished, couch I built, still covered in boxes and things like that, but making this next transition for my family and for myself and my relationship with myself, and just feeling just so humbled by how powerful we are when we choose to focus our consciousness with intentionality and get on board with what God wants. So when I contacted my friend about this place that she'd shared, someone else had already expressed interest, and I immediately, my old self would have been like, oh, but that's mine, and I knew it was mine, I meant to have it, blah blah blah, and I just absolutely let it go. I'm like, okay, God, it's up to you. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. I've set my intention. I know that I can't go wrong in that. And of course, not surprisingly, the other person who was interested was no longer interested when I came along. So it really, in all ways, feels like there's just been so much power in having that moment of what felt like hitting the bottom of the barrel. That going into the breakthrough moment, being willing to surrender into it. And when I look at that list now and I just see how many things on there that I wanted to call in and how quickly it's happened, and I'm like, are we only a month later? In fact, I had to check in my journal. I'm like, surely that was the full moon 3 months ago. But it isn't. And now I'm sitting in this place of just such gratitude, but also just feeling like things are, as the world begins to slowly open up now, my life in the backdrop of this pandemic has been opening and opening and opening. And it's just like, whoa, I often feel like my energy is doing the opposite of, like, I don't read astro weather or anything, but if I do, I'm like, that sounds like the opposite of what I'm going through. And I feel like I'm kind of experiencing that right now, as this massive kind of opening. Although I do think many of us are having openings during this time of things closing down, the inward opening. And at the same time, the backdrop of this has been completely changing the way we deliver the third level program, and watching the women who are walking that path, who are now halfway through term 2, which is the retreat term, which would normally be an 8-day retreat, is now an 8-week program. And just watching these women, and I am just blown away by them. And it's not just those women. Like, I'm watching these baby priestesses just get on board with this process, and without any of the kind of luxuries around them, like someone making their bed or feeding them mangoes or getting massages or lying by the pool. They're doing it, they're doing it with kids at home and homeschooling and managing relationships and partners suddenly being at home and not being allowed to go outside and all of these things. And they're still showing up, and they're showing up in such a big way. But what's happened as well is that it's brought the postgraduate priestesses into the program of the third level in a way that it did happen in the previous model. When we'd go on retreat, the postgrad priestesses would come on one of the third level retreats, but now they're coming every week to support the lead mentors, and they're deeply immersed in mentoring their baby sisters. And like, it's only been happening for a week or so, but I'm like, wow, it's kind of activated. The idea of the postgraduate as a peer mentor is so important to me. But I think we hadn't sort of realized it in its fullness. Like all things that are pilots, we were trying something out. And this is like, now, I think the sisterhood is becoming truly intergenerational through the delivery of the program in this model. And I'm so excited for the next intake of the postgrads, who, by the way, I will be announcing tomorrow. I'm very excited about that. And that's one of the other amazing things, like at the backdrop of all of this, all this kind of crazy, mad world, is that just really quietly in these 9 women, we have 9 postgraduate priestesses. I thought there'd be 10, but it turns out it was 9, and I trust God, and it's, just so exciting. They've been onboarding, and we've been preparing the resources and looking at the changes in the way that the third level being delivered impacts them, and just really just bringing this next layer of graduates in, and tomorrow we will announce them. And I'll be going live at 10:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time to do that, and then we'll be announcing them in the newsletter as well. And just seeing all of that unfold. So I guess I just wanted to come in and just chat and just let you know where I'm at, because so many of you reached out and so many of you shared your love and just held me, and like women that I have never met and women that I love dearly, and just so much outpouring of generosity and kindness. And if you know me, you know that it's not normal for me to share much about my life, and that's not because I'm hiding it or I'm secretive. It's simply because there's been such a level of stability that really there was nothing to share. Like life was just really stable, and I didn't need to kind of bring any of that personal stuff in. But you know, my congruence as a leader and my willingness to show up in whatever way and to show you my process means that when things did start to change, I wanted to, you know, include that, respecting my family, respecting their needs as well, but letting you be witness to the fact that this spiritual path is not about the preventing of life happening. It's really the question of what will you do with your pain. And I really am so overwhelmed with how quickly this has moved into this new energy. You know, yesterday would have been the 12-year anniversary of Julian and I meeting. It was also January, February, March, April, May, the 5-month anniversary of us ending our marriage. So it all feels very auspicious right now. And, you know, we just kind of fist bumped each other, Julian and I, and we're like, good work. We did a really good job. And we're really, really proud of what we created together and are still creating together. And part of that is this place. So like, we're picking furniture together, we're buying pots and pans together, we've got a shopping list in our notes on our phones where we keep adding things, what we need, and you know, we're co-creating this new space together, and it's really fun, and there's this real joy in both of us around the whole process. And I'm just kind of blown away by our capacity to do that, because you know, there's still feelings and there's still lots of emotions and things are changing and shifting, but we're really, really so we've shifted into a new relationship so quickly, and I'm just so grateful that we both had the capacity to kind of see what was possible for us. So I just feel like I wanted to give you an update, because there was so much outpouring of love and so much holding of me, and I was so aware of that. And I don't want to now sort of go, okay, well, I'm feeling good, so I'm going to shut that all down. I want to keep sharing this journey with you, share birds nesting with you, what it's like, how are we managing it, what are our kids feeling, how can we, all of that is a really, really big part of my spirituality off the mat, my spirituality in the world, and the actions that I'm taking to be congruent between my faith and my actions. You know, there's no point ending a marriage in an angry, mean way if my work is about non-dualism and finding God in everything. Yes, Renee Main, you must come and hang as soon as we are allowed to hang out. I think I was channeling you, Renee, when I bought this incredibly beautiful throw rug. I'm so in love with it. I've been Instagramming it. It's so soft and so beautiful. I can just imagine you draped in it with your glorious hair. You'd be very Game of Thrones, especially with the it's not an undercut, is it, that you've got? It's just a really cool, it reminds me of one of the characters of Game of Thrones. But anyway, we're now just having a private conversation. I probably keep coming. Yes, housewarming party, indeed. When we're allowed, we'll make that all happen. I feel like I just wanted to now show up and show you where I'm at now and what's happening. I mean, the work is still big. What we're doing with the third level priestesses is huge. Their big sisters are getting close to graduating. They're working their asses off, and we're doing huge things together there as well, like really shifting huge energy. And really just so, there's so much potency available right now. And yesterday is a full moon. And as you know, I don't subscribe to, you need to only do things on certain phases of the moon. But when there is a collective intention around something, there is possibility of connecting into that power and sharing that experience. So I'll have another ceremony for myself today in this space before I head back to the bird's nest where the family is, and take on homeschooling duties for today. And really I just feel like I wanted to catch you all up and just say thank you. And yeah, I'll keep on sharing the journey of what we do and how we do it, and I'll keep sharing pictures of this gorgeous place, because it feels very much like, what a privilege. Like, I don't know, I feel like I've kind of, yeah, it's feeling very good. It's feeling very good, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so yeah, kind of blown away, because it is just, it's amazing. So there's so much happening. The energy is so huge. Take some time to get intentional about your consciousness encoding and getting really clear on not the specifics of what you want, but how you want to feel, and you know, how you want to feel in every part of your life. Don't exclude God from any part of it. Just that's been my realization, is when I hand it all over to God, every part of me can come into this state of bliss, even the hard things. You know, there's been some hard conversations in the last few days, and there's been some big energy shifting, and all of it has felt really blissful, even the hard things. And I think you know, that's a real privilege. That's a real privilege to be able to get to that space. That is freedom. So yeah, thank you for letting me ramble and share with you. And you know, thank you for your love, thank you for your messages, thank you for your questions, thanks for your curiosity. You know, thank you even for the times where I felt like, yeah, all of it letting you down, or you know, I should be doing it differently or something, but there have been few and far between. Mostly it's just felt like this is where I should be. And hey, we're doing a brand new live 3-day training starting next week called Deep States Intuition, 12th to 14th of May. I'll share the link for that if you want to come hang out and really dive deep into surrender intuition, which is the intuition for our time. And every day in the Spiritually Fierce group for another 13 days, excluding weekends, I'll be doing 17 days of archetypes. And that's just really fun, because I don't know what's going to happen each day. Each archetype has a different medicine to offer. And yeah, come and hang out with us. Today it will be at 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I'll share the link for Deep States Intuition, so you can jump into that training with me that's happening next week. Mwah. So much love to you all. Oh, and 10:30 tomorrow, we're announcing our postgraduate priestess cohort for 2020, and I could not be more excited. I'm calling them the Glorious Nine, by the way, because every one of them just makes my heart skip a beat. I'm very grateful. See you.